Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Today we are going to do our first episode for the game Loop Hero. Loop Hero is a project, the second commercial release project by Four Quarters, the development team. And Four Quarters actually has quite a few games under their belt despite having only two commercial releases, because Four Quarters is a group that participates in Ludum Dare for quite a few of them, it looks like. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Goodness gracious. It looks like, yes, 14 years consecutively, Four Quarters has released a game for Ludum Dare. And for those that are unaware of what this means, Ludum Dare is a annual game jam where the goal is to build a functional game of some kind in accordance to a theme, and do so within 2 days, 48 hours. You are free to do what you want with these concepts afterwards. You can expand on them, or adjust them, or bug fix them, or just leave them as they are. But Four Quarters team has participated in numerous of these, and as a result, they've made a few projects that they decided to stick with and turn into full concepts. The first one that they decided to do this for was a game called The Second Thought, and this is better known under a different name because when they updated the game and changed it here, they decided to rename it to Please Don't Touch Anything. So if you're familiar with this game, either via the web version or the commercial Steam version, or the VR release, this is the same team. You're put in front of a panel that has a red button told don't mess with it, and then if you press it, then more levers and switches come up, and there's as many endings as there are lights on the front there. Sort of a puzzle game of working out how you can manipulate this object as it expands and changes. But later on, they went on to create another prototype for Ludum Dare 45 called Loop Path Hero. Let me type in the name here once again. Loop, Path, and Hero, all with the connecting letters capitalized and non-duplicated. Eventually, they were really happy with this concept, and it looks like they seeked out Devolver Digital to work as their publisher and expanded it into a full game and refined the title to simply just be Loop Hero. And that is what we will be playing today. Games are made by people, and I wanted to get a little history lesson on the development team in here, because I quite like their work. But I think the intro to this game is really rather striking, so I'm tempted to just kind of let it speak for itself. For any that don't know this game, I hope you enjoy. For those that are, hope you enjoy going back and looking at the wonderful pixel art and, frankly, astonishingly good music. Okay, the weird font should fix itself in a second. There. We're going to stick with pixel fonts and no CRT shader for the sake of stream clarity. The pixel fonts, I think, are completely readable and nice looking, but I will also be reading out most of the dialogue anyway, so. But if someone asks me to, I can switch to one of the higher res fonts. The stars in the sky are going out, one by one. But no one notices it. No one can stop it. I'm racing to the last place where there is still hope. I need to make it before it is too late. The sounds of agony will quickly fade. The world will be destroyed. Even the memory of it will be gone. And even if there is absolutely no chance of bringing it all back, there will always be someone who is willing to do the impossible. In a place without space, without time, without memories. Where am I? I can't see anything except this path. My head is killing me. I remember only a skeleton with a staff up in the sky. This darkness was coming from him. Did he destroy everything around here? Just standing here won't do me any good, I guess. To change between adventure, traveling through the map, and planning, stop, modes, press the switch, right-click, or space. Let's keep things at 1x speed for now. Pay attention to the day progress bar at the top of the screen. New enemies usually appear at the end of the day. Continue your journey by changing the game mode. A living ball of slime. Quite a nuisance. They digest anything they can. Hey, I remember this creature. Maybe I just need to freshen up my memory and everything will go back to normal. Traveling, fighting, and most other actions are done automatically. The player can't affect them directly. It's hard to fight with your bare hands. I think there's an undigested weapon in the remains of that thing. You have an inventory and an item slot. You know what to do. I think I remember there was a grove nearby. Are these even my memories? Do they belong to that slime? You can use cards that are left after defeating enemies to add various new objects to the map. That's what planning mode is for. Drag the card to a suitable space to remember the land. Grove. A gentle rustle of leaves, a crack of a dry branch, and a feeling of being watched. Spawns a rat wolf every 2 days. Rat wolves can move to adjacent tiles. And then, 1 second here. Wasteland. There's absolutely nothing here. Well, except slime. 5% chance of spawning a slime once a day. Good. Now continue your journey. Forced rat wolf. I was right. Some emotional stress, a few vivid images, and a bit of adrenaline. And I'll forget it all like a bad dream. I mean, I'll remember it all like a bad... Damn it! Good thing nobody heard that. As you probably already know, so you can get new items and cards during battle. Some items have unique features, as do most of the cards. Hovering over an item or card, you can inspect its properties. Equip a new weapon and place your new cards on the map to continue. So, Gladius 4 to 6 damage. 4 to 6 damage, but plus 9% vampirism. The old item is destroyed. A thick forest. Nobody knows who or what could be lurking inside. It makes you a bit nervous. Plus 1% hero attack speed. Rock. Its magnificent appearance gives you strength. 3 HP, plus 3 HP, plus 3 more HP for every adjacent rock or mountain. So, clusters? Good. So there's a mountain over there and a forest over here. The world's almost back. The branches and stones in my backpack are a sure sign of that. Some of your actions will yield resources that you will need later on, but not right now. But that shouldn't stop you from looking at them right now. Preserved rock, apparently untouched by the Lich's curse and thus suitable for building despite the shapelessness of the world. A log that somehow managed to keep its structural integrity despite the general chaos. it's time I get some rest. The game itself is a journey on a looped path. Only you will decide when it's time for the hero to return to the camp. Either you or the fangs and claws of your enemies, of course. You can retreat almost any time, but a special animation will let you know when it's safer to do so. Retreat to the camp by pressing the button. You consider returning to the cozy camp right now while you're still alive and walking. Good thing the camp is right nearby, now's the perfect chance. Retreat, you keep all resources. It's cold and dark here. A small fire can solve both of these problems. Nice place to set up camp. This is where all resources you've gathered will come in handy. Who would have thought? You have just enough wood and stones to make a campfire. What a nice coincidence! Build a campfire using the building function while in a camp. Press the build button, select the campfire, and place it. A common campfire. Warm and cozy. Monsters keep away from it, so it's a nice spot to have some rest between your travels. It's also the center of your camp and the starting point of your adventures. The hero restores 20% of his max HP upon entering the campfire tile. Congratulations, you've beaten this annoying tutorial. You can now start your first expedition, or not. Do as you wish. This path. Everything is wrong, but I remember. It looks like a completely different place, and it's empty again. Do my actions have any meaning? Like I have a choice. If I need to give up and cry to save the world, I am the worst savior of all. Let's do it. I'm now realizing that the pixel fonts are pretty damn tiny. Is that stuff readable to y'all? Like stats damage over in the corner here. Treasury. The thick walls guard all kinds of riches from thieves and previous owners. It gives a random basic resource after placing anything on an empty tile around it. Must be surrounded by empty space when you build it. Readable, okay. Vampirism Ring. Meadow Grove Mountain. It's like a rock, but really big. 5 HP for each adjacent rock or mountain. Earth covered with a thick carpet of grass. Nothing really interesting, unless you're a cow, of course. Deals 2 HP at the start of each day. Blooming Meadow. Flowers get a feel for the world and bloom with pleasant smells. Heals 3 HP at the start of each day. Note that the meadow changed for reasons that are not yet clear. It placed as a meadow and then turned into a blooming meadow. Things can interact with each other in unusual and unexpected ways. Learning those rules is core to becoming good at this game. Mastering the game, whatever. Better sword. Again immediately bloomed. Vampire Mansion. Hungry eyes follow your every move through the holes in the roof. Adds vampires to battles on tiles around it. Back off, human. A vampire. Where are your lands? If your farmers need help, I would be glad to offer it. No more lands. No more flock. Only hundreds of years of emptiness. And hundreds of years of hunger. Save yourself while you still can. I don't know how long I can keep my head straight. What hundreds of years are you talking about? Your mind is easy to trick. But you can't trick my hunger. It demands its fill. Every sip, every drop of blood will go to satiate it. I'm too weak. But you can help me and I will set this crumbled world right. That's right. I'm doing this not just for myself, but for everyone. In the name of the greater good. So be grateful for my hard work and just let me bleed you dry. Vampires often owned our lands. They kept the peace and helped our settlements prosper. But this won't do it all. Now they are just pale shadows of their former selves, both physically and mentally. Apparently blood of other creatures can't sustain them. He wasn't joking about the hunger. Even the creatures around him were imbued with the power to drain someone else's life. Road Lantern. A small spot of light in the square world. Reduces the maximum number of spawning enemies on the tiles around it. Road Lantern effects can stack. I guess keep the camp safe? That seems reasonable. Vampire Aura. All enemies that are not objects or artificial gain the vampirism effect, 10%. The existence of a vampire makes every enemy gain vampirism. Non-blooming meadow. But still, I'm gaining resources every time I put something near a treasury, so I'm going to keep doing that. And now it's blooming. Mountains and rocks get adjacency bonuses, so let's make a cluster of mountains. Keep going. So any viewers that don't already know the answer, what do you think makes a meadow go from a normal meadow to a blooming one? The treasury? What about the treasury? We don't have a water tile, at least not yet. You mean like being near the treasury? This has this armor has 3 next to it, and it is also almost twice as strong as my normal one, so. That is a better ring for sure. Empty treasury. A treasury without treasure. An empty shell. A sorry sight, especially for its stone guardians that have slept through their eternal watch. Spawns a gargoyle every 3 days. Uh-oh. treasury area has flowers on it. Ah, so adjacency to treasury is your theory. Spider cocoon. A silky bastion of 8-legged hunters spawns a spider on an adjacent tile once a day. My apologies to anyone with arachnophobia. Bloom. Cemetery, a place for the dead, and for some of the living occasionally. Spawns a skeleton every 3 days. Second D&D campaign, we're trying to tame local giant spiders to use as mounts. Things are getting kind of spicy out here. Wait. Goblin camp. The sound of backstabbing can be heard from miles away. Spawns a goblin on adjacent tile once a day. Appears for every 10 mountain or rock tiles. Oblivion. A bit of the Lich's magic. Causes anything to be totally forgotten. Erases any established tiles. Erases monsters from the road. I think it's probably worth retreating, just to be safe. What happens if you obliterate the empty treasury? Well, the empty treasury occasionally spawns gargoyles. If you obliterate the treasury, the empty treasury, that's no more gargoyles spawning. I can't believe it. Hey everybody, the boy managed to return. Survivors? Does that mean I'm not alone anymore? Where did you come from? Is there still a place without darkness? We don't know where we came from. That, or we can't remember. These few people are all that's left of our group. I think. You're not sure? We're not sure. We reached that conclusion based on the abandoned luggage and leftover daily rations. Each day we see the signs of other people's presence around us, but as far as we know, they don't exist and never did. It's like we forgot them. Forgot them? Exactly. It's as if people are disappearing every day and we instantly forget they existed. Just like we forgot where we came from, and our families, maybe even ourselves. My name is Yota. That I still remember. Everyone else's memories are not much better. That's why I remember so little about myself. Everything is forgotten. But wait, you said I managed to return? That means you remember I was here. Yes, that's why it's so important to us. We saw you leave, but you were gone before we could approach you. Listen, we can't keep wandering in this emptiness anymore. There's a campfire here and enough space for a few sleeping bags. A real luxury in these dark times. What do you say? Of course you can stay. I'd be very grateful if we could team up. I want to put everything right. I'm only beginning to remember the world as it was before. But there's no point to it without other people. It's too lonely without them. Remember the world? I don't get what you're talking about. I'm too exhausted, but we'll be glad if you could help us, and we'll be glad to help you. Just don't ask us to follow you out there. I don't know how you managed to return, but for us, leaving the group is too dangerous. I will ask no such thing of you. For now, I just want to have a place to return to. A place where I can hear other people's voices. We weren't joking about helping you. Here are a few things that we survived the cataclysm that don't vanish. Don't become forgotten. Take it. You might need it. So, there's whole resources and fragmented resources. It varies depending on what resource type it is, but if you collect enough of them, it forms one whole. Somehow the memory of these sticks wasn't lost. 12 pieces of stick form a beam of stable wood. Small stones that still remember how the world used to look. Just for a moment while I read. When you hold them, you're able to vaguely remember it. Just for a few seconds, too. Scrap metal. Small pieces of metal that survive the Lich's curse. Sometimes this is all that remains from armor or sword that you haven't looked at for a while. A small amount of food. Surprisingly, it can still satisfy one's hunger. These things are a real luxury now. A small pack of food found in the ruins of a new world. Unlike the rest of the world, hunger is still here, and you'll need all the means you can get to fight it. Yeah. Noticeable change. This is enough to turn a caterpillar into a butterfly, a seed into a sprout, or a drop of water into steam. Will turn itself into something else too if you collect enough of it. Field kitchen. A very important place for any camp. If your nose isn't lying, there's good food here. Campfire gets plus 10% healing power, and Blood Grove card. Do you know the difference between a good cook and a bad cook? The food made by a good cook is tastier. That's true. What? You're waiting for something more elaborate? Sometimes the truth is really simple. Look, I have a cauldron, a hearth, a couple of knives, a bucket of potatoes, 3 onions, and some ham. Nothing special, everything is very simple. But give me a few minutes, and everyone in this camp will be running to my table, following the tasty smell of a good stew. Nothing else I can afford. Chapter 1. Enemies have 0 to 1 abilities, enemy strength minus 5%, enemy strength growth is 2% per loop. You can bring back 10 of a resource at max. I am a warrior. No particular benefits or disadvantages, has the highest durability compared to other classes, plus 2% damage for each second of the fight. There's some cards we haven't seen here yet, but we'll address them when we actually see them in-game. Bloodgrove, a living forest. It preys on wounded occupants of the tiles around it. May spawn something dreadful from the remains. Can be placed adjacent to the road near other trees. Its roots devour enemies that have less than 50% HP left. Battlefield. It smells of blood and steel. Spawns a chest on an adjacent tile each loop. Enemies on the tiles around it can become ghosts when they die. Rocks. I'll hold off in case I get a treasury. Spider cocoon. Meadow bloomed. These shields have identical stats despite having different visuals. However, visuals can indeed be a sign of different tendencies for stats. Like a ring that has a bat on it is almost certainly going to be a vampiric ring, along with whatever other incidental stats it may have. Need Moo as a boss character in a game. Please. Skeleton, undead, has a soul. Battlefield, 20% chance for all enemies that have a soul to be reborn as ghosts after being killed. Ghost, undead, has a soul. Vampire Mansion. This game is in some ways a balancing act, because I could put the Vampire Mansion over here in order to overlap the battlefield, but do I really want to have vampiric skeleton enemies that also can deal life drain and have vampirism? Is that really something I want to deal with? You may also end up asking yourself, why put tiles down at all? And one of the reasons for that is when you walk over tiles, you will get small amounts of resource. So game progression dictates that you will need to do stuff like this. But also, killing enemies that are stronger than slimes are going to also give you weapons and equipment and stuff. And that in itself can allow you to get stronger. It's a balancing act. I pass through the cemetery and I get one pebble fragment. It's very hard for me to do this, but just know that I am repeatedly resisting the urge to say, oh, I love this song. Because if I do, I'm going to say that literally every time the song changes. I'm sorry, but literally every song in this game is a banger. So, Bloodgrove has extremely specific circumstances. It is a roadside item that can only be placed next to a grove. Oh goodness, I should have given myself a better weapon. Carnivorous Roots devours monsters that have less than 15% HP left. The hero and its allies will become entangled instead. Cannot devour blood golems or swarm creatures. Blood golems, that's what a specific thing to say. New tile. Beacon. A worthless landmark in a world with no direction. Plus 40% movement speed within its range. Plus 20% attack speed for all units. The other ring slot doesn't exist. It's not real. Ghost. Okay, I just got a bunch of stuff, so let's take a second here. Okay, double up on beacons. So the secret behind meadows and turning them blooming? Make them directly adjacent to any tile that isn't a meadow. That will cause them to bloom. Goblin Camp. Appears for every 10 mountain or rock tiles. You're trying to pause me? Silly, such a thing is not possible. Hehe. I'm tempted to obliterate the treasury here, but I do at least want to see one gargoyle. Stop! Where did these goblins come from? I don't remember remembering you. We remembered ourselves. Now give us all your things. You have no idea what's going on, right? Why don't you help me restore order in this world first? You can do everything you want when I'm done. Goblin must rob, no other order in the world. Fair enough, because I don't have any good objection to that. Oh wait, I do have one. How about... It's strange how these creatures appeared here on their own. Maybe it means everything is actually not so bad, and the world is trying to restore itself. That, or even the apocalypse, isn't enough to get rid of some pests. The slime gets to go on murder walkies? Yay! I love doing that. VTubing is an occupation that leads you to say a lot of weird things. Blood groves can be placed adjacent to other blood groves. Hungry Grove, a blood grove that has lots of...
Fatality Habit just cheered 100 bits.
100 bits for murder walkies, apparently. Thank you. Hungry Grove, a blood grove that has lost its connection with the forest, in constant agony because of its irrational existence. Occasionally attacks the hero for 20 damage, devours enemies that have less than 20% health left. So, blood groves can be placed next to either groves or other tiles that have the word grove in their name that are adjacent to the road. And so since this tile is technically adjacent to a tile that has grove in the name, and it's technically adjacent to the road, it is valid, but then it immediately wilts into a hungry grove because it is unfed by the existence of the grove that should be next to it, if that makes sense. Oh, goodness gracious. I am now scared. We can't deal with these vampires. Okay. I think I'm dead. My best hope is vampirism mongering. Oh. Mountain Peak, a stone giant, could support the sky itself if it weren't already gone. 121 max HP, plus 5 max HP for every adjacent mountain or rock tile. Spawns a harpy every 2 days. Great! More problems. Oh, we are so incredibly dead. Okay, vampirism isn't doing enough. Our best hope now is evasion, of which we have no items. We're dead. You've died in battle. Death does not favor the fallen, but it makes a little exception for you. 30% of all resources kept. I knew it was coming. Thank you, Conley. I'm alive, but how? Thanks to us. A small group of us dragged you back here. It wasn't easy. How did you fight off all those monsters? They nearly killed me. That's also interesting. Many of them were vanishing right before our eyes. Some we managed to avoid, but I think most of the monsters were gone before we left the camp. I think your trips are deeper connected to your memory, my friend. It all fades away as soon as you space out for long enough. Thank you for the follow. I am Moo the Slime, and I like to highlight indie games that do something really unique in the medium. Oh, how I love this song. The pixel art in this game is just absolutely gorgeous. Oh yes, I forgot to mention. These little symbols at the top of the cards, the filled gem, the half-filled gem, and the empty gem, show you the relation to the road that the card is. Full gem means is placed on the road, half gem means must be placed adjacent to road, and empty gem means must be placed non-adjacent to the road. Which is why there are these significant areas that we cannot put the rocks here. Now that we know we can make a huge mountain, my priorities shift a bit for rock and mountain adjacency. The mega mountain occurred when I made a 3x3 of rock and mountain. With these low damage numbers, vampirism is usually just rounding up to only 1. It's really not doing too much for me. Which means that ending fights quicker via countering or through the use of evasion might suit me better for early game like this. Ah yes, the Great Mountains. I think we're safe to do another loop. Rage. Enrages after an ally dies, plus 30% damage once per battle. I said that we're safe to do another round, but I'm really starting to doubt that now, already. It doesn't help that I have yet to get a piece of actual body armor that's above level 1. Or a shield above level 1 until just the second. Executability on enemies. Some of the writing in this game is goofy, but there's other moments of writing and characterization in this game that I think is blatantly fantastic. On that note... No! What do you mean, no? You want to save the world, you want to ask for help. Our answer is no. How did you... But why no? We see far away. We see deep inside. For a long time there has been an emptiness instead of the sky, but it doesn't stop us from seeing. Your saving of the world is one-sided and naive. Each person sees their own way to save the world. That's why no one will ever join you. Fine. I don't fully understand it, but tell me your version. How do you see saving the world? By my progeny and kin. May they live and be strong. May they join the cycle of life and death. That is life. That is the world. I will kill you and feed your flesh to my starving younglings, and life will go on. And how many lives does your blade prolong as you kill again and again? Only one. I don't want you to die, and I don't want your children to die of hunger. Please, try to see reason. If my mission succeeds, the Harpies can have all the sky and all the hunting grounds they need. I can't feed my children with your beautiful words. Farewell. I feel awful. By fixing one evil, I'm causing another. There's no home for Harpies except in the highest of mountains, but there's no food there. I can't even imagine how they managed to survive if their mountains were cut off from reality. I can't feed my young with your beautiful words. Is a phrase that kind of stuck with me forever. Also, Ghost. Good lord, finally non-level 1 armor. So what the Road Lantern does is it makes it so there's a hard limit on the number of units that can be on a single tile. Spider cocoons, if you don't place them adjacent to multiple road tiles, can end up stacking a bunch of spiders into one spot, starting a fight that you can't win. Road Lanterns help for countering this. You know what I'm not going to do this time? Overextend. Another success. You've returned and we still remember you. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's good to be back. I'd hardly call it a success. My old memories of the world were gone. The path was empty again, and there was only darkness everywhere I looked. Interesting. So technically you remembered that you fought for... So technically you remembered that you forgot something. We could find a way to use that. Let's talk about something more positive. We managed to tidy up this place. Time for the next step. What do you have in mind? Expanding the camp. We have people with all sorts of skills, from the cook to the alchemist, but each needs a place to work. However, we can't build anything with the local materials. You find a branch or a rock, turn away for a second, and it's gone. I'm afraid only you can solve this problem. The materials that survive your trips always look suitable for building. But those are just pebbles and splinters. How can you build anything with them? Curious, huh? I realized it when I saw your campfire. The things you find seem to spread stability to similar materials and things. It's only a little change, but it's still something. Even a small branch is enough to make a wooden fence exist without constant oversight. Still not good enough. If there's any way for me to focus on food for resource gain. You can toggle on and off cards, but for each of the position categories, like I mentioned, there is a minimum and maximum you can have. So you need at least 2 roadside cards. And at most 5. At least 2 on-road cards. And at most 2 on-road cards. Rock and Mountain is considered 1. I'm not entirely convinced on the beacon's usefulness. At least not to my current vision. Me moving faster and progressing the game faster means that my regen per second is less effective, because I'm gaining the next fight sooner. It also means that I'm progressing around the map quicker, which means I'm looping more, and looping more seems to be killing me. Worth noting is noticeable change is kind of a unique resource, and that the only way you get it is when tiles transform. You will always get noticeable change when this occurs. And you cannot get it from any other source, I believe. I'll keep the meadow just in case I... Rolling. I will use this very sparingly. $1.5. That is as high as I'm going. Sometimes it's worth experimenting with tile placement, just putting things next to each other and seeing if anything odd happens. And so that's why I put those two groves next to each other, because, I don't know, maybe a long grove does something? And so see, I just got 9 noticeable change nuggets out of doing that. I obliterated the goblin camp, and so now I don't need to deal with that. They were costing me lots of health last time. Ooh, good weapon. Nearly doubled evasion. In order to make sure that the groves don't get too crazy. I want more battlefields, I like it. The ghosts are charming to me. I will note, because of the nature of this game, it's somewhat laid back. So, if y'all just want to like chat with me as well while I go through this during non-dialogue segments and stuff, I'd be happy to just yammer about whatever. Living has a soul. There's definitely gonna be downtime in this game. Meow meow. Still no battlefields. But I want battlefields. I think they're cool. There's one. Tree bark bark. Somehow that's one of those jokes that feels like it's an instant classic, but I've never heard it before. That's so good. God dang. Can I make another Mega Mountain? No. So I guess only one can exist at a time. Stole that from Manly Badass Hero. Right, I gotta figure out what gives me food resources. Still at full health when I reach by reaching the camp, so... Cool math games. 3 goblets. Never heard of that one. The blood grove is shaking. Monstrosity exited the forest right behind where I was. Moldo landfill. Heck yeah, Loop Hero. Subscription, thank you. Thanks, Waldo. This is a scary fight. High evasion. The best way to recover damage is to never lose it in the first place. The best way to recover health is to never take damage in the first place. Destroy the goblin camp. Like the idea of the vampires being caretakers. As we unlock new tiles, some of that idea will be expanded upon. There's a lot of fascinating interactions that all contain their own story bits. There we go. There was 2 goblins and a harpy right here, but I managed to turn it into 1 goblin and a harpy by having 2 road lanterns, which limits the number of creatures that can be on a space to a limit of 2. If I put another road lantern that covers that area, it would be limited to 1. If I put another one, no enemies can appear on that tile at all. Not even slimes. Unless, of course, there's some sort of weird esoteric secret something or another that happens when you do that. It's always worth trying odd combinations to see if you can uncover something. Higher defense and higher counter rate. Sounds good to me. Not getting rid of evasion. Massive mountain next to a vampire manor. Not sure, or I guess technically that's possible. Obsessed with this game when it came out, so many different strats, loved how simple but varied the game can be. What I really love is that the game updated to add, like, actual, like, character sprites and conversations to previously existing combos that didn't have them. Like, they just kept adding in, like... Yeah. First time you meet a unit didn't have a conversation on release, and then later on they added one in post, too. Yeah. Absurd amount of defense. Flesh Golem, living plant, has a soul, 10% vampirism. Oh my god, kill something. Okay. If I manage to make it back to camp, I'm exiting this time. Do I have any evasion? I have no evasion. Okay, that needs to be fixed right now. Actual high-level weapons. Vampire needs to go. Please. Ransack the treasury. Any advantage I can get. So close. The day rolling over might save my life. I think I'm gonna make it. I am out. If you haven't gotten to yet, Rivers are pretty fun to play around with gaining most out of.
To another place.
I have played a fair number of Toho fan games, but not lately in any remote way. It's a miracle we could find some fertile soil, and by a miracle saved some seeds of precious healing herbs. But the real miracle is that all these healing poultices and balms still have some effect. We already lost many people because of the cataclysm. It would be nice not to lose more to the diseases. And these potions can help you as well. Take a vial or two on your trip, and your chances of getting back in one piece will be much higher. I see. You don't have to rack your brains for old facts if you can just learn them again. Nice trick. There's no trickery here. Without education, we would degrade into savagery. You know, you could also learn something new. We could all get together and share our useful knowledge and skills. Nah, I already know all I need. I'll leave lessons to the kids. And here's your first lesson. Learn to enjoy learning. That would make life easier for you and me both. Unlocks the ability to gain special traits for killing enough enemies during an expedition. Unlocks the village card. I will get rid of Cemetery so I can keep Vampire Mansion. And then we will see what these new tiles are. Trait deck. I don't entirely understand. Maybe it'll make sense when I get into game. we can now level up. Village. First, they'll feed you. Then, they'll make you work. Heal 20 HP upon entering, gives you a quest. Quest goal. Plus 200% HP. Quest done. I wonder what completing the quest actually did for me, if anything. So yeah, the village will pick a random enemy that exists, and then triple the health of it. But will also give you health. Swamp. The stench is murderous. Or maybe it's the poison. Spawns a mosquito every 3 days. All healing effects are lethal here, except for potions. They are still on your side. Lethal is maybe the wrong word for it. What they mean is inverted. All healing effects that are non-potion deal damage for the healing amount instead. Because swamps are the worst in real life, Conley. Of course. Chrono crystals. Crystals that are able to refract not only the light of the rising sun, but the passage of dawn itself. Doubles the effect of a day's passing on the tiles around it. Did I get a quest? Oh. My spicy swamp takes are bringing out folks, I see. Let's just make this spot the absolute worst, why not? Let's just make that zone a nightmare. Slimes cannot produce ghosts because slimes are not considered to be soul-having creatures. They are artificial life. Which is... As a slime that has a soul, that's because I have a core. Slimes that don't have a core... I refer to them as feral, but maybe just uncored slimes. Oh, the chestplate I got was from completing the quest. And okay, so it's every other visit you receive a quest. And every time you... Yeah, so... Pass through a village, get a quest. Complete the quest, pass through the village again, get a reward. Pass through the village again, get another quest. I think you're right. Bandit camp. Masters of trading their poverty for someone else's life. Spawns a bandit on an adjacent tile every 2 days. Bandits prefer villages. Appears for every 2 village tiles. As much as I want these tiles to be an utter nightmare, I don't want them to have 4 units on them at any point. So 1 road lantern in order to make it so it's a 3 limit. Sure. Possibility of ghosts, why not? Of course, the moment I put down all that stuff. I don't think we've actually encountered a gargoyle yet. We've never survived to see one. Goblin camp is 1 too dreadful for me. 1 unit of dread too far. Counter. Hey, I don't remember you. You don't look like a local. That's because I'm not. I see. And you think you can just wander these parts without consequences? Times are rough, you know. Nothing to bite, nothing to wet one's whistle. And we have to deal with our strangers who have no sympathy for our poverty. What? Think you're better than us? No. Did I guess right? Is this the correct answer? Because I'm getting the impression that this is one of those cases where my answer is 0 influence on what happens next. Well, you've got insight. That's the only thing you will keep today. Come to think of it, murderers and thieves are part of this world too. My mission is to return everything back to normal. Should I be happy they're appearing again? On the other hand, being disgusted with murder and theft is also part of this world. So I guess I don't owe it to anyone to be happy. See, Conley, I see that you're trying to make a deadlock pun, because I play that game on occasion, but dreadlock is already an existing word. Choose a new trait. Blissful Ignorance. Deals you a full hand of Oblivion cards. From now on, using Oblivion card skills hero by 10% of his max HP. Surveyor. Each time the hero passes through a tile, he will heal for 0.5 times loop HP for each non-road tile around it. 10% chance of stunning people for 1 second. that looks like half a second, I would like to remind you that I am running the game at 1.5x combat speed. Ransacked. No. No goblins today, thank you. Another ransack. Ransacked a village. The farmers couldn't fight off a hungry vampire. They could still fight you off, though. Spawns up to 4 ghouls once per loop. Transforms into something useful after 3 loops. Oh no. Cool, okay. I believe you're right, by the way, Kippers. The background color, if it's gray, common... Actually, yeah, it's simply a number of additional modifiers they have. See how this has the modifier defense? That's 1, and it's got a blue background. Damage to all and vampirism, 2 modifiers, that's a yellow background. Orange, 3 modifiers, orange background. Ghost. Level up. 10% chance to keep the card after placing its tile. Doesn't work for golden ones. Defense is increased by 1 after every loop. Second thoughts get a new choice of 3 traits. Article of Protection. I think I might go with Surveyor for just the healing boost. Because I've got a lot of roadside tiles, and Surveyor increases my health for that. Oh my god. That was like 7 of AIDS. It was starting to get sketchy. Farmers' crops are always a welcome sight on the dinner table. All empty tiles around the farm are transformed into gardens. After an expedition, it gives you 1 ration for every completed loop, but not more than there are garden tiles around the farm. You can build something over the garden. Unlocks the ability to craft food if the supply depot is built. Unlocks the wheat field card. Do you notice how strangely this oblivion affects our senses? Hunger, for example. You can go for days without food and you still won't be hungry. Still, that doesn't mean you should quit eating altogether. Our farmer swears he'll be able to grow some stable crops, but it'll take some time. I'm curious to see what he can grow without any sunlight. Wheat fields. Can only be placed next to a village. Chrono crystals aren't really doing much for me. The swamp sucks. Map completion. When this bar is filled, the boss of this chapter will appear on the campfire tile. By the way. Have we still not... Wheat fields. Haystacks look like a cozy place to rest, but you have to move on. Can only be placed next to a village. Plus 15 HP to healing plus 15 HP to healing in adjacent villages. Spawns a scarecrow every 4 days. Quest enemy. Bop. Road lantern to reduce the number of ghouls.
Fatality has disappeared 100 hits.
Thank you. Keep it going. Mimic. Living. For the reduced ghoul count. Finally seeing a gargoyle. Artificial life. Good drops. The goblin's under control. Scarecrow, artificial life. Somersault, 35% chance to perform a counterattack during evade. Survivalist, if your HP drops below 30, your regen's doubled. And then Surveyor. I'll go with Somersault. lucky enough to get an Oblivion, so I'll use it on the Goblin Camp. I'm out of places to put wheat fields. Gargoyles aren't getting a chance to attack, but I'm a little afraid of what happens if they do manage to get that chance. Villagers are doing a good job of keeping me fed, healed up. Count's lands. The village is thriving under the vampire's protection, and its inhabitants are very generous. Heal 165 HP upon entering. Gives you a quest with a better reward. The vampire that suffered from 100 years of hunger is now sated, and is back to protecting his flock. Healing Potion. Your trusty travel companion heals you by 4% HP when your life is in danger. The fewer you have, the more you cherish them. 2 charges. Probably want to prevent this area from getting too out of hand. Level up. Strong Aftertaste. The hero deals 1.5 plus 1.5 damage for every potion used since this trait is taken. I guess so. Ooh, big evasion boost. To another place, Assassino. Assassino is a fellow friendly slime. This fight is scary. Lose 1% of counter for 8% of vampirism. Ghost.
Vitality had just cheered 100 bits.
Thank you. Really don't like there being 3 goblins and a slime there. That's real scary to me. There's no getting around it. Or is there? There was. I mean, this also sucks, but I think this sucks less. don't think I can justify doing another loop. I was so unbelievably close to dying there. Smithy. By the anvil of the seven seas, if it isn't a little forge. Yar, you have no idea I miss the heat of the furnace and the smell of metal. We'll have some proper tools now, laddie. You have my word. You'll even have something for those journeys of yours. You're quite enthusiastic. Something tells me you're no stranger to the sailor's craft. Shiver me hammers, how'd you know? It doesn't matter, though. You're right. Don't you worry, I'll show you these hands can hold a hammer as good as they can hold the helm in a storm, even for a dozen days in a row. Let's see. Can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm bringing back the spider cocoon. We now have basic equipment on start. At least we've got a triple road spot. So I had an idea. If it's a 3x3 grid of rocks or mountains, and mountains are just more effective versions of the rock, then why not make my big mountain out of nothing but just rocks instead of mountain tiles? That way the mountain tiles can be dedicated to adjacency bonuses alone. And then, from what I'm able to tell here, a ransacked treasury gargoyle, they're really slow to attack, so I can frequently kill them before they get one hit off. And because I can do that, they provide really generous rewards, so it's almost all upside. I'm doing it. I'm making this happen. So that thing's living but doesn't have a soul, so no chance of a ghost from it. I love to make things happen. This is the only type of Homestuck reference you'll get out of me. Ah. Is the 100 bits in order to fluster me, Havoc? Is that the idea here? What? Huh. I can be supported either through subscriptions or bits, but if you want to provide in a way that is more direct, tips.slime.center will lead you to my Ko-fi page, and nearly 100% of that money goes directly to me. I think it's like a, what, 5% cut? And even that can be disabled, but, you know, yeah. Small feature of Ko-fi are linked to having the small cut active. Just enjoying the stream. Your contributions are always appreciated. Thank you. I'll get that intro made at some point, folks. I've made progress on my logo. Getting the website set up was another thing that I need for my logo, actually. Because my logo is going to relate to that website's existence. Ghost, ghost. That might not entirely make sense, but it will eventually. Hero rushes into battle head-on, and first attack is a 75% chance to stun each enemy for 1 second. Counter-attacking evade. There's the bloom. Spiders don't have a soul. Good to know. Rat wolves do, though. Whew. Oh my god, a proper weapon, finally. And a huge defense boost. And a level up. Healing for adjacency of objects. Ghost! Ghost. It's a lot of items I just got. Texturcists? Or texturcist? Is that like a text and exorcist? Nah, I know it's text. I get it. Again. We fight. have enough evade and counter and vampirism that I'm making a significant amount of health versus how much I'm losing. I'm afraid to get rid of any of that vampirism is the thing. Even if it will increase my max health. Also, have you noticed? There's something notable. Ghost! 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 Incursion radiates with powerful energy that devours space and time itself. It is time to face the destiny of this world. Lich's Palace. It was here that the sorcerer Omicron conducted his futile experiments in an attempt to stop the heat death of the universe. Every palace increases Lich HP and damage by 5%. Oh, how I love this song. It really is impressive how every song in this game is a banger. Level up, right? Thank you. Goodness. Second thoughts. Blissful ignorance. I have a plan. Destroy the Lich's Palace. Plus, I can use this for healing. If I'm gonna fight the Lich, I'm gonna enter that fight with the best chance I possibly can. I'm going in there with full health. I believe this is the most popular song on the soundtrack. Although it's not actually the one that's my favorite. Which is really saying something because the song is just awesome. Max health, incursion right here. Stay. How is it possible? That's right. You didn't devour me like the rest of the world. Haven't I? You really don't think so? What are you talking about? I'm standing right in front of you. I consumed all of your reality. Its every element now rests in a separate pocket dimension. Spaces, living beings, information, even memories. They shall remain there until entropy does its work, turning everything into uniform, static mass. Along with you, of course. You're insane. So, what do we have here? I see. You found a way to interact with other pieces of your reality, organizing, combining, and merging them. But how? I don't see any exceptional talents or knowledge in you. You hardly even understand what's happening, right? I'll tell you what's happening. A pile of bones is butchering my world and thinks it can get away with it. You're already doomed and you know it. Perhaps you're just the first in a series of systematic errors. A problem I must learn to solve. Let's not waste any time then. I don't think you're capable of feeling regret, but I'm about to change that. Carnivorous Roots works on him too. Evasion, evasion. Do I have any evasion? This increases evasion. Tiny amount of lowering for an increase in evasion. Vampirism is not helping me too much because the sheer scale of the damage he deals. Evasion. Perish. nonsense. This is impossible. So many reasons. I don't understand. Now put everything back the way it was. Can't. I've already completed my task.
Fatality Havoc just cheered 100 bits.
Even if the result is not perfect. You are in no position to refuse, you sack of bones. He's already received everything I could gather. I just wanted to see how our crusade against the universe would end, to witness what would come of it. My presence is no longer required. Who is he? I get it. You're connected somehow, right? That's why. You will find out soon enough. This anomaly will not escape his attention. My explanation would be meaningless to you now. So spare me your wheezing and just die. If that sack of bones was telling the truth, I have a long journey ahead. I will build my whole world from scratch if I have to, and the skull of that monster will be the first brick in its foundation. Choose one reward. Resource assortment. I plan to leave immediately, so... Retreat. Everybody listen. The Lich is dead. The curse has been lifted, but... What Lich? And what curse? I believe you, of course, but I have no idea what you're talking about. You don't remember the dead sorcerer? The one with the fur coat and scepter? Shrouded in nebulas, flying above the world on big shining wings? Consuming it piece by piece? That's strange. And everything here does look the same. Why? I guess he wasn't the only reason for this darkness then. That skeleton mentioned him. Whoever he is, he must have something to do with the obliteration of the world. It seems I have no other option but to continue my expeditions. Chapter 2. Enemies have 1 to 2 abilities. Enemy strength is normal. Strength growth 3% per loop. 40% bonus resources. Max amount of a resource you can carry is 20. And we will face off against someone else. Refuge. There are exiles even in Exile, hero. Don't go too hard on the lost souls who found respite in wine and gambling. Why don't you take a seat and pick yourself a poison to drink? But I'm not here for the... That's strange. This place and this life. It all feels so familiar. Now we're talking. So you found a living on the road? A bit of robbery, maybe? Or collecting bounties for some unlucky souls? It's as if someone else knew and did all this, and now I have their knowledge and skills, and somehow... I literally have 2 aces in my sleeve now. And this coin purse. I think I stole it, too. Ha! Wait, that's my purse. You don't believe me? Ah well. Feel free to come by if you want to discuss your new trade. I didn't become this good with knives by working in the kitchen, you know. Cemetery. Thank you. This place is nice. Calm. There are people here, but they are quiet. They look grim, but they can tell you much. You can listen. Rogue class unlocked. If you look, unable to equip rings, but can equip boots. And instead of equipping a weapon and a shield, equips 2 weapons. Collects trophies by killing enemies in combat and exchanges them for items at the campfire. Starts with 5% vampirism, 10%, plus 10% to stat bonuses of the same type that come from 2 or more equipped items. The effect stacks. So if you have 2 things that increase evasion, then you also get a plus 10% to evasion. Oh. That, I think, will do it for tonight. That is a wonderful stopping point, I think. Thank you all for joining me. Loop Hero will be continuing on Fridays. Wednesdays, I think we'll continue with Toho Project. And Mondays will continue to be Monday Grab Bag. Whoa, okay. I went to click away and that did that to the stream. Let's see. Let's see who we can rate to. Bucket Lamp, friend of the channel and
To another place.
a friend of me and friend of my friends, is currently streaming Elden Ring Night Rain, so give him some surprise viewers, why don't you? Starting raid. Bucket Lamp is also the person who made me lose my mind in the Mars First Logistics stream by spamming the See How They Shine by submitting, what, 15 separate $1 donations. Anyway, to another place, my friends.